I have always considered myself lucky in life. I have a good job, a cozy home, and a loving wife. When I met Emma, I immediately felt that she was exactly who I was looking for. Her warmth, kindness, and care created a special atmosphere around us that brought joy to our every day. She was a masseuse who loved her job, was devoted to her clients, and often came home tired but happy. I worked in a large company where we were all, you could say, like a family. My colleagues respected me, and I always considered myself a trustworthy person. Emma and I dreamed of a future together, made plans, trips, renovations in the house, maybe someday children. It all seemed perfect to me. Emma often talked about her work, about the clients she saw in the massage parlor. Her profession was not just a job for her, but a vocation. She was trying to help people, to ease their pain. I was proud of her for having such a big heart, capable of caring for others. It seemed that nothing in our life could change this idol. I always thought that there was no place for betrayal or lies in our marriage. She often came home late from work, explaining that clients sometimes made appointments for the evening. And I understood her business is business. I trusted Emma unconditionally. We shared the same values, and I believed that our love would protect us from any adversity. I had no idea that this confidence would soon be shattered and my world would be turned upside down. One day at work, Mike, one of my coworkers with whom I had a good relationship, came up to me. He looked a little tense, like he was trying to find the right words. I noticed this and asked him if something was wrong. Mike sighed, looked at me, and started talking. "Look, there's something I have to tell you," he began, smiling nervously. "I don't know how to say it properly, but I've heard some talk about your wife." These words puzzled me. What kind of talk could he be talking about? I didn't understand anything, but I felt something cold running down my back. "What do you mean, Mike?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "Say it straight, don't be a dodger." Mike looked down and began to explain. "There's talk that Emma takes things a little too freely with her clients after a massage. I didn't want to believe it, but I've experienced it myself." Hearing this, I felt the blood drain from my face. I didn't seem to understand what he had just said. Had he just admitted to sleeping with my wife? Anger rose up inside me, and I was about to punch him when Mike continued. "We were having a massage in her office. I didn't know she was your wife until I saw a picture of you together later. Only then did I realize what I had done," he said, raising his hands in a gesture of defense, as if he expected me to explode. And I did explode. Without thinking, I punched him in the face. Mike backed away, clutching his cheek, but did not resist. I was shaking with anger. How could he do this? How could she do this to me? But at the same time, doubts arose in my mind. Was it true? "I'm sorry," I mumbled, feeling shame wash over me. "It was emotion. I shouldn't have reacted like that." Mike cautiously walked closer. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just think you should know the truth. But if you want to make sure, I can help." I looked up and looked him straight in the eye. "How exactly?" I asked. "Let me go to Emma's massage again and get it on video. Then you can see for yourself. If it will calm you down, I'm ready to do it. And I promise that there will be no complaints from me. It's your request," he offered. It was a ridiculous idea, but at the same time, the only way to find out the truth. I nodded. "Okay, do it." After talking to Mike, I couldn't find a place to sit. My mind was spinning, and I was torn with feelings: anger, despair, pain. I could not believe that Emma could do this. She was everything to me: my support, my love, the one with whom I dreamed of living my whole life. And now I'm forced to organize this shameful investigation to find out the truth about our family. The next day, Mike and I met at a coffee shop near work to discuss the details of the plan. He was tense, but determined to follow through as promised. We agreed that he would make another massage appointment with Emma. His task was to covertly video record everything. It may have been low and sneaky, but I didn't see any other way to find out the truth. "I'm going to use a small camera hidden in the watch," Mike explained as we sat over a cup of coffee. "It'll be inconspicuous, and she won't suspect anything. You'll see everything with your own eyes." I nodded, although I was burning with anger inside. I didn't even have the words to describe what I was feeling. I just wanted to know the truth, the whole bitter truth. We agreed that Mike would go to Emma for a massage the following week when she was working at her massage parlor. During this time, I tried to act normal with Emma, even though I was seething with indignation inside. Every touch she made, every smile she gave me caused me pain and anger, but I couldn't give myself away. The week dragged on endlessly. I tried to do my work, to communicate with my colleagues, but my thoughts were in only one place, in that massage room. All those days I hardly slept, and when I did, I was haunted by nightmares of betrayal and lies. Finally, the day came. Mike texted me, "I'm going for a massage. There will be a recording." Now all I had to do was wait. Wait and hope that this was all some kind of terrible misunderstanding, that I was wrong in my suspicions. Time was passing unbearably slowly. It seemed like an eternity until I finally received a message from Mike. "Everything is ready. I have the video. Let's meet after work." My heart was beating faster. Now it was the moment of truth. We met in a park near our office. Mike looked serious and a little tense. He pulled out his phone, turned on the recording, and handed it to me. "Look at this," he said. I stared at the screen, not believing my eyes. The video showed everything from a normal massage, and then, what I was afraid of the most. I couldn't watch anymore and turned off the phone. My hands were shaking and my chest felt empty. It was true. Emma had cheated on me with the clients, and now I saw it with my own eyes. I drove home, trying to hold back all the emotions that were raging inside me. Anger, pain, humiliation, everything was mixed into one ball, and I felt like I was about to explode. All I could think about was the video I had just watched. Now I knew the truth, but how could I live with it? And worst of all, how do I tell Emma? The road seemed endless, but here I was, standing in front of the door of our house. It seemed that the familiar threshold, the familiar smell of our home, all of this had already lost its comfort. Opening the door, I heard Emma spinning around in the kitchen. She didn't even notice my arrival. "Hi, honey," she said when she heard me, her voice sounding as warm and homely as ever. "I just finished cooking dinner. How was your day?" I looked at her, and everything inside me boiled over. How could she talk to me so freely when she was doing this behind my back? I pulled out my phone and turned on the video, holding the screen up to her face. "What is this?" I asked, holding the phone in front of her. She recoiled when she saw the footage on the screen. Her eyes rounded, and I noticed a look of horror on her face. It's not what you think," she began, stuttering, but I interrupted her. "Not what I think. Emma, I saw everything. How can you lie to my face?" I shouted, feeling my voice tremble with rage. Emma looked confused. She wrapped her arms around her head and began to mumble. I didn't know it would happen," she said, trying to explain. "It only happened once, and then I couldn't stop." "Only once?" I repeated, almost laughing at the absurdity of this lie. "Do you think I'm that stupid? How many were there, Emma? How many?" She fell silent, and then spoke softly. "It doesn't matter. I love you. They were just moments, nothing more." "Nothing more?" I stared at her, feeling my anger change to complete disbelief. "How can you say that? You betrayed me. You destroyed everything we had." An oppressive silence fell between us. I could feel the room spinning around me. Everything I knew and believed in was now in ruins. I can't take it anymore, I said, barely holding back my tears. I'm filing for divorce, Emma. It's over between us. She tried to say something, reached out to touch me, but I pulled back. Don't, I whispered. Don't you dare touch me. With that, I turned and went to the bedroom to gather my things. A wave of emptiness washed over me. The scandal I expected did not happen. Instead, there was a bitter, cold breakup that cut us in two. After that conversation, everything became a blur. I packed my things, locked myself in my room, and started thinking about what to do next. My thoughts were torn between anger and sadness, between the desire to throw a tantrum and completely withdraw. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding the photos of us together, which now seemed like strangers. How could our memories be betrayed like that? Our love? Emma stayed in the kitchen. I could hear her pacing back and forth in silence, but she didn't dare to come into the room. She knew that nothing could be changed. I could no longer stay with a man who had so easily broken trust and turned our lives into a lie. The morning after that night was filled with heavy silence. We avoided each other's eyes. I prepared all the documents for the divorce. It hurt me to think that our marriage, our life together, would now end with a few signatures on papers. But I saw no other way out. Staying in this marriage meant betraying myself. Emma tried to talk to me. She stood in front of me, her eyes red with tears. Please don't do this, she begged. Give us another chance. We can fix this. I looked at her, trying to find the remnants of compassion in me, but there was only emptiness. There is nothing that can be fixed, I replied coldly. You destroyed our relationship. It wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't just one mistake. You consciously made your choice many times. I can't live with someone I can't trust. She turned away, covering her face with her hands. It hurt me to look at her, but I knew that this conversation was necessary. I took the prepared documents, walked over to her, and put them on the table. Here are the divorce papers. You need to sign them, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked at the papers and then at me. Okay, she whispered, wiping away her tears. If that's what you want. This isn't about wanting, I interrupted. This is about dignity and respect for yourself. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. The next few days passed in a blur. We filled out all the necessary documents, agreed on the division of property, and I started planning my new life. Divorce was the only way out of this situation for me. I could no longer look into her eyes, knowing that they were full of lies. After filing for divorce, I realized that there was no point in staying at my job either. Everyone there already knew what had happened. Colleagues whispered behind my back, and my credibility was destroyed by this story. I was left with a feeling of shame and embarrassment, even though I knew that this situation was not my fault. So I handed in my resignation and decided that I would start from scratch elsewhere. It was not easy to find a new job, but eventually I came across a company that offered me better conditions than my previous place. A new team, new opportunities. It was a chance for me to rebuild my life from scratch. This experience changed me, but I knew that there were still many opportunities ahead. Life goes on, and I decided that I would not let this pain keep me in the past. A few months passed after Emma and I signed the divorce papers. I still remember the moment I saw her signature on the paper. It was the end, the final goodbye to our life together that had once seemed so perfect. Now I tried to focus on my new beginning, although sometimes a wave of bitter memories still rolled in. After I left my old job, I found a new position in another company. No one here knew about my past, and it was like a breath of fresh air. The colleagues were friendly, the atmosphere was lighter, and the work was enjoyable. I felt that I was gradually regaining control over my life. After work, I started looking for new hobbies to occupy my time and distract myself from thinking about the past. I started going to the gym, going every morning before work. Exercise became a therapy for me when I lifted weights, ran on the track, or just pedaled my bike. I felt myself gradually releasing my anger and frustration. In addition, I started meeting with my friends more often. I now realized how much I had missed out on by immersing myself only in my marriage to Emma. My friends were supportive, inviting me for a beer after work or just a walk in the park on the weekends. These simple moments of socializing were a real comfort to me. I also found interest in traveling. I started with short trips to the countryside, to the mountains, or to the lake. There, in the peace and quiet, I found inner peace. Sitting on the shore of the lake or lighting a fire, I felt the pain gradually subside and the emptiness in my chest fill with new dreams. But despite all these efforts, I was missing something important: real communication with a person who could understand me. I was afraid to open my heart again, but I didn't want to be alone. The thought of a new relationship scared me, but at the same time attracted me, as if it was the only way to find peace and happiness. One evening, I was sitting in my new apartment, looking at my travel photos on my phone. Involuntarily, I started thinking about the future. Will I ever find someone who won't betray me? Will I ever be able to trust again? These questions haunted me. I decided that I would not rush anymore. My priority now was my own happiness and peace of mind. I wanted to find a woman who would value me not for my status or convenience, but for who I really am. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but now I was ready to go through with it. Life after divorce has not been easy, but it has brought me an understanding of myself and what I really want. I am no longer the naive man who believed in blind love. I learned to value my boundaries and understand my needs. Although there were still many unknowns ahead, I felt that this was just the beginning of a new chapter. Now I was not dreaming of a perfect life or a perfect relationship, but of a real one. About a person who would be there for me not because it was convenient, but because it was sincere. And although it seemed like a difficult task, I believed that somewhere out there, there was someone who would help me believe in love again.